Comfort food that you can make from the comfort of home without a trip to the grocery store. We're making tuna casserole that's quick, simple, and healthy. I'm Jeff Philbin. This is Dinner DeeAs. My guest today is Martin LeMay. Hello, my
Jeff,
friend.
how are you?
Welcome to Dinner DeeAs.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here because Martin has a pretty unique career trajectory. After culinary school, he realized restaurant life just wasn't for him, and he went into, well, what else? The skydiving business. He had been skydiving since the age of, I had notes on this one here actually, from the age of 7 years old.
Your notes are correct, yeah.
7 years old. And he's also probably the first skydiver who quit because it just wasn't quite dangerous enough. And now is a firefighter who also posts recipes as the station chef. And joking aside, your bio has a shocking statistic here. 75% of firefighters are considered overweight.
That's correct. There's several studies that have shown it based on some metrics that are easily recognizable: body fat, BMI, body mass index, or waist circumference. Some of them are not really reliable, but from what I've seen, it seems to be that 75% are some sort of overweight.
All right, I can see that and I can feel that, and I think at the end of the day, we got some options here to make it a little bit better.
And we can all be better for sure.
We can all be better for it. You at home could be better for it as too, because Martin is here to share a healthy recipe that's not just for the firefighters, it's for you too. A dish he recently did on social media, his Healthy Tuna Casserole. It's got 529 calories, that's it. 51 grams of protein, 54 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat, and there are no special ingredients needed. Like, this is stuff I'm looking at, like, you should have these in your pantry.
I had everything in the pantry. All right. I also love to cook, so maybe I have some items that you wouldn't have, but we can talk about substitutes. We have canned tuna, some vegetables, flour, butter, a little bit of stock and pasta. I think most people have that in their house.
So what do we need to do to get started here?
So we'll get started with draining the tuna if you want to help me out.
Sure.
So we have tuna in water, which is going to drain it out.
Now,
and then fork it out.
Why water? You know, you see sometimes on the can, it's like it's in olive oil and it's, you know, nice.
Yep. So, I mean, tuna in canned tuna comes usually water or oil, and oil is flavor, but oil is also fat and calories, and that's what I'm trying to get away from. Too much fat, too much calories. We need to have some sort of a balance, but when they come in water, they provide about 80 less calories per portion.
Oh, wow.
That's all from fat. So if we can remove the fat content from here, maybe we can add it somewhere else with some cream cheese or what we're going to use today, some pork rinds. So kind of finding a balance in between where to get the fat from and where to get away from it, or how much to actually use.
Okay.
Well, thank you for that. Last little piece here. All right.
I'll break this up a little bit more, as you say.
Yeah, so this tuna, I mean, it is dry. It is not seasoned, so we're gonna add some salt and pepper later to this, and we'll make sure that our sauce that we are gonna make is actually gonna be flavorful, because the tuna is gonna absorb a lot of it.
Very good.
That's perfect
good?
right here. Yep.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And then what do we need to do next? What do you got over here with some veggies?
So I have three veggies: celeries, shallot, and then garlic. We're gonna mince them fine. Let's start with the shallot. Shallot, I like to go horizontal first. Be careful with my fingers, and then I'll go vertical. Not quite all the way to the end, to the root. That way it keeps the vegetable together.
It's that grip. You want to hold that integrity here. And this is where sometimes folks...
Yeah, the root is still all together. That way this holds. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And then I have these small little pieces. And then we'll go the other way. And within, 25, 30 seconds, we have a nice diced shallot that we can put in.
They're perfect. They're consistent. And the reason why now, they're going to have an even cook.
So we got that done. And we're going to do the same thing with the celery. Celery is sometimes a little trickier. What I like to do is put it flat, and then I'll run my knife vertically. I have two of them, so we'll do everything together. And I don't want to chop all that long, so I'm going to make smaller sticks, and then again run vertically, watching for my fingers, kind of a bear claw grip.
Yeah. If you want to make this at the house or the firehouse, you can grab Martin's recipe with all the amounts and ingredients ready to print at dinnerdeas.com. Quickest way to get there is opening the regular camera app on your phone and pointing at the TV as if you're about to take a photo, not a video. Then when it has the box in the corner and frame and in focus, you might need to zoom in. A link right to us will pop up.
That's our prep for our veggies.
Easy.
That's easy.
Now, I see pork rinds over there, man.
Yes.
Like, what's going on there? Like,
All
you
right,
said this is supposed to be healthy.
Yes. So when I talk about protein, there's two things I'm looking for. Protein to fat content is one, and protein to calorie content is one. So if we talk protein to calories, if I add a 0 to the number of protein grams, it gives me 90. If this is above the calories, it's a good protein content.
Okay.
Other one I'm looking at is protein to fat. I want at least double. 9 grams of protein, 4.5 grams of fat. It's double. I like it. So when you buy pork rinds, some of them might not be healthy. Look for the good ones. So look for protein to calorie content and then protein to fat content, and that's how I go about it.
That's a really cool tip on that one. That's a really, really cool tip to know exactly that you can eat healthy.
Yeah.
And still have some great flavor
and
too.
some of them are bad. Some pork rinds are bad, and I actually don't buy them because they have not the right ratio.
They're not in the right ratio.
And
So
then if we talk about, one more thing, if we talk about salt, I sweat a lot. I'm in gear at work, it's outside. I need to replace the sodium that I sweat out. So I'm okay with salty stuff.
All right, okay. What do we need to do with it then?
So we're going to use that as a garnish at the end on top. Similar to what you would do with breadcrumbs to get a little bit of a crunch.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be creamy. We want to add a little bit of a crunch. So instead of using breadcrumbs that have virtually no protein.
Sure.
This is just a quick swap that I'll use for garnishes on top. If I bread some chicken or bread some pork, I will use pork rinds just because it adds a little bit more of the protein content that I'm looking for with relatively low calories.
And you know, it's an easy cleanup over here because as you see, all he did was he just made a slit at the top there just to release that air. And now you're just really pulverizing it, not having to get another bag,
That's
not
correct.
having to get a bowl.
Nothing.
It's all in the same kind of package over here.
And
Very easy.
If there's big chunks at the end, I'll just eat them. Yeah.
They are a good little snack on that one.
It is a really good snack.
All right, so what do we need to do next?
So next we're gonna add some butter to the pan.
Okay.
And we're gonna saute our vegetables. So I have about 2-3 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna throw that in here.
And butter's good for this dish?
Butter is good. Again, we need balance in life, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to add a little bit of fat in there so that it kind of helps the taste buds. And if 3 tablespoons divided by 4 or 5 portions, it's a minimal amount of fat that we actually get from the butter.
Very cool.
So once we have that, we'll throw in celery and shallot. We're going to saute that for a bit. Seem to know what you're doing here.
I love this.
So the next thing we're going to do,
smells
it's
now,
so
it's
good.
the sounds.
So we said that this ingredient is going to be, it's kind of dry to start, right? Pasta is dry. The canned tuna is dry.
Yeah.
We can't get away from it. But we need to also season it. So we're going to season the sauce in layers. So we're going to start with salt and pepper with the shallots and celery. And then every time we add something, we'll taste, make sure that the flavor is developed properly.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So we'll let that cook down a couple minutes. We add garlic. I don't want to burn the garlic. Garlic is actually really pasty, right? I did that with the microplane, very, very fine.
And that's also going to help with a little bit more of that potency of that garlic bite. The finer you go with the garlic, the more potent it's going to have as that burst of garlic flavor. You want to monitor that one here, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Because while this sautés away, we're taking a quick break. When we come back, we get Martin's secrets to a smooth sauce ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. A child skydiving prodigy turned chef turned firefighter Martin LeMay is our guest today, and he's sharing a healthy take on a classic comfort food as we make his healthy tuna casserole. Easy, quick, and made with ingredients you probably already have in the pantry. Before the break, we drained our canned tuna that was in water, then prepped fresh veggies, dicing celery, shallots, and garlic. Then for a crunchy topping, we took a bag of pork rinds and crushed them the manual way by smashing them in the bag. Then we heated butter and just start to saute our veggies over here. And you can see that they've just kind of softened just a little bit here.
They've softened up. They're a little bit more translucent. Butter's completely melted. It smells good already. There's 4 ingredients in here.
Very simple.
And now we're going to add salt to the pasta water. Always add the salt when it boils. Kind of save your pan. Throw the pasta in. We're going to put a timer for, based on the box,
And
6
these are
minutes.
just your basic store-bought, inside the pantry, just egg noodles.
Egg noodles,
That's
yeah.
it.
Egg noodles. Typically, you do egg noodles with casserole. You can do whatever noodles you have at home. And I'm going to take flour, put it in a little sifter.
Now, why do you like to put it over the sifter?
So I like to do this because it helps me prevent some clumps in the roux that we're going to make. So I spread that all the way around, and it just helps having a smoother sauce.
Oh, nice. And the roux for us is going to be what? What is the roux?
So a roux is equal part fat and flour, and it's going to help thicken the sauce. So we're going to add, eventually we're going to add, actually you can use a whisk for this one.
Perfect.
We're going to add chicken stock to this, and we're going to thicken this whole thing here.
To grab Martin's recipe for his healthy tuna casserole, just head to dinnerdeeas.com. We have his recipe ready to read along or print. You can even watch this show over again or any of our previous shows. Just scan the QR code in the corner of the screen to find us. All right, so you got the chicken broth over here?
So chicken broth, we're going to go slowly. Then we kind of want to slowly incorporate it. Again, if you want a smoother sauce and you throw it all at once, you might develop some clumps, sorry.
So then really kind of just slowly start adding, mixing.
Correct.
And keep going.
Through all the veggies, get everything in the pan. If you have veggie stock, you can do veggie stock at home. If you have seafood stock, do seafood stock, you'll get more of a fishy taste.
Okay.
I like chicken because it has, again, more protein.
More protein.
Right, for the amount of calorie that we're getting. Also adds a little bit of saltiness and brininess. And we're going to bring this to a simmer. And once it simmers, we're going to add a couple more ingredients in here.
Can't wait. But we do have to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to add peas and cheese, and not just because they rhyme, though that totally does help. That's ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. We're cooking healthy today, but no stingy salad in sight, as we make a high-protein dinner that's easy, quick, and something that you're going to want to eat. A healthy tuna casserole from my guest, Martin LeMay. He's a trained chef turned firefighter and posts recipes and videos as the station chef, helping not just firefighters, but everyone eat better. Before the break, we cooked the pasta for the casserole, then added flour to our sauteed veggies to make a roux, which just means a thick base for a sauce. Adding broth, Martin used some chicken bone broth and brought it all to a simmer, adding cream cheese during the break. And you can see it's really
It's got thick. It's got really thick. If it's too thick, I actually reserved some pasta water that we can add in here to make sure that the sauce is loose enough to cling to everything, the pasta and the tuna, so that every bite that you get does have a little bit of sauce.
I love that. And then we already cooked our pasta, and that was all of that reserved
Correct.
water for that piece.
Correct.
There.
Now we're going to add some peas, some frozen peas right in there. If the peas are thawed, you can throw them right in there. If the peas are frozen, you can still throw them right in there to make sure the pan is still a little hot so that you don't eat frozen peas.
Very cool.
And the last thing we're going to do before we put everything together, we want to season every ingredient separately, right? The pasta had salt in the water. This, we've had a lot of ingredients since we seasoned last, so we're going to do more salt and pepper and a flavor check.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you to salt and pepper the tuna.
I'd love to.
So we did say that the pasta and the tuna, we're going to grab a lot of that flavor, that sauce. So we need to make sure that everything tastes good separately before we put it together. And we'll do one last taste check before we put it in the oven. That way you don't do all that work for nothing.
See, that's the worst part. Is like, especially when it goes into the oven, because then it's like the whole waiting game, and
Yes.
it's like a surprise at that point.
And you don't know what
Taste
you
as you go, folks.
That's one of the key things you learn in basic culinary school is taste as you go, season things separately. That way everything comes together good. All right, so pasta, we're gonna dump the tuna in there. You wanna get a little closer.
Okay.
And then this sauce could be a little looser, so I'm gonna add
You go a
pasta
little
water.
bit looser on this one. Tuna's going into the pasta,
Yeah,
chef.
everything.
Gotcha.
And we're gonna dump all this in
That
here.
last little bit in there.
Everybody in the pool.
I love that. To grab Martin's recipe for his healthy take on comfort food, just visit dinnerdeeas.com. Scan the QR code we have down in the corner of the screen to find us and follow along on your phone.
So you can see it already. Like all the sauce is gone basically.
It really has.
It disappeared. It's in the pasta. It's in the tuna. It smells like it could use a little bit more pepper. And then you and I are going to give it a taste test, and then we're going to transfer
with just a little bit more pepper there. You're going to hit it with a little more salt too?
You and I are going to decide actually.
I like that already.
It could use a little bit more.
A little bit.
And I think it has a good peppery kick.
Are you conscious of the sodium content when you're cooking healthy?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to over salt things.
Sure.
I want it to be flavorful, but the salt content and the amount of it, not so much. I mean, we live in Florida. We sweat a lot. When we sweat a lot of sodium, right? You sweat salt out. If you actually taste sweat, it is salty. So
Even if you're not fighting a fire?
Yes.
We all do it.
Yes, we all do. So if you lose a lot of salt, you need to replace it so that your body reacts properly, your heart works well. So I'm okay with adding salt.
Okay.
If you ever have cramps,
Yeah.
it's probably because you don't have enough,
enough
salt.
sodium.
And yeah. So we're going to transfer all this to a baking dish.
I'm liking this. I'm liking this.
So there's two things that I like with this dish. First is the sound, right? The little gooey,
Yeah.
the gooey sound that you like.
the stickiness of
Yes.
everything coming together.
And then when we add our crunch, and then when we plate it, we'll hear it when it's time to plate. So I'm generous with this. We're going to add more when it comes out of the oven.
Oh, I love that. And those are just literally the pork rinds that you pulverized earlier.
Correct.
No breadcrumbs, no carb
No,
to that.
just
Just pure protein.
Protein, yeah, just pure protein. That's what I like to serve. So we're going to send this in the oven. Everything's already cooked,
Yeah.
right? So, and it's warm. If we want, we can eat it like this. I like to heat it up, get a little bit more bubbly, get a little bit more of the cheese in there. So we're going to pop it in the oven, and then we'll be ready.
I love that. What's the temperature and how long will you cook it for?
350.
Okay.
If you want to broil it at the end, you can. Basically, what I'm looking for is some bubbles, maybe a little bit of smoke, maybe a little bit of crisp.
Ooh, come on now. While that bakes, we're going to take our last break and see how our finished dish turns out when we come back. Ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. Former skydiver Martin LeMay has dropped in, not literally though, but if he had, that would have made jump 13,001.
Who's counting?
Yeah, exactly. Who's counting? I do want to do it one day. I'm not going to lie. Hold me accountable, viewers. I want to do it. He's a trained chef, now a firefighter, and shares recipes to help his fellow firefighters eat healthy as the station chef on social media, including this recipe for his healthy tuna casserole. And we said earlier that there's about 75% of firefighters that are overweight. And the average layperson's thinking like, you guys are running around, heavy gear, water's heavy, it's hot. But 75% are overweight?
Some of that data, it kind of like BMI is a rough index, right? You can't judge obesity from that. There are people that are actually overweight. Why? I mean, there's reasons. Some of them is not knowing how to cook. Right, it's a key skill that teaches you about ingredients, about how to make from scratch, and that makes a big difference. Another one we talked about is knowing the ingredients: tuna in oil versus tuna in water, the pork rinds versus the good pork rinds versus the bad pork rinds, or lean ground meat versus 70-30. So sometimes just buying the wrong ingredient but making a healthy dish can make a big difference.
And it's not just for firefighters, my friends, for all of us too. All right, now this looks absolutely phenomenal.
GBD, gold, brown, and delicious.
I love that.
What makes a good comfort meal? A little bit of the ooey gooey and a little bit of the crunch, right? I think this one has all of it. And all the sauce has been absorbed by the pasta and the tuna. So that should be pretty good.
And I like the balance. I'm looking at this side here, and it's just like...
It holds.
It held really well, and it's like pasta, tuna, pasta, tuna.
If you want more breadcrumbs, breadcrumbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Our
Quote
pork
unquote
rinds, yeah.
breadcrumbs over here.
just feel
Put
free to
those
add
pork
some.
rinds over here for that extra layer of flavor and texture.
Enjoy.
Put that little bit right there.
Peppery, cheesy. This is packed with protein.
It tastes like how my mom would make it, and it's like how your mom would do it. There's that level of comfort that comes into
Thank
it,
you.
number one. It just kind of is. Tuna casserole is like one of those nostalgic dishes. I think we can all agree on that one here. But then because you've like modernized it from those nostalgic hits, I mean,
Thank you.
the flavor of a pork rind to act as what would have been a breadcrumb
Yep.
to give that layer of crunch, that texture behind it. Now I gotta ask you a real question too, because like, how do you know really what's the proper amount to eat?
Well, I mean, stop when you're full. And one thing at the firehouse that we talked about is we cook too much, and then it's laying there on the stove, it's still hot, and so you go for the seconds.
Yeah.
And so a good way for the firefighters and even people at home is stop at one decent portion, take a normal plate, and then that's it. And if you want to feel more full, take a smaller plate and fill it up. You'll be like, I ate an entire plate.
Okay.
That could be, you could trick your mind like this.
All right, it's mind tricks, everybody. It's just mind tricks. All right. Thanks to Martin LeMay. Grab his recipe for this healthy tuna casserole at our website, dinnerdeas.com, where we have a link to Martin's socials. Follow him for tips and dinner ideas to get well and healthy. I'm Jeff Philbin. Thanks for watching, and see you next time with another idea for dinner, as we call them, Dinner DeeAs.
I'm good at that.